there, folks. This is Coffee with the Candidates coming to you from the Waffle Hut. Big thanks to the folks at Waffle Hut for letting us film this here. We have a very special guest today. Elvina Contla is here today, and we are going to talk about all the plans for the BOCC and how she is going to shake things up over there. We'll find out how much she's going to shake things up over there. Clearly, it needs some shaking up, I would think. But we're going to talk to her today, and without further ado, please let me introduce you to Elvina. Elvina, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Well, talk to me. What are we doing with the BOCC?
So, like you said, there is definitely some changes that I think that, from an outside perspective, that I think that can be helpful to the whole county. One of the biggest things that I see is a lot of focus is here in Klamath Falls, but the top leadership, the Klamath County commissioners, cover the Klamath County area. It's a very large county. You have, Gilchrist and Crescent up at the top.
I've driven it.
Yes, exactly. I drive it all the time, actually. I work a full-time job and I run a business on the side. I'm a mobile notary and signing agent, and I have driven all over this county into these people's homes. And over the last 6 years, the one thing I hear the most is the people in the outlying areas, they feel completely forgotten.
In a lot of ways they are forgotten, aren't they?
And they're paying the same amount of taxes that we're paying in this area here.
Yeah.
I personally live now, I lived in Klamath for a couple of years, and then I met my now husband, and I moved out to the Keno area. So we're pretty far out there. It's a 30-minute drive in from where we live. But it's the same thing out there. You hear the same gripes, the same concerns. When you call the sheriff's department, it's basically like, we may get a deputy out there, but it could take a couple hours, or it may not even happen. So how much danger are you actually in? Yeah. So that is one of the number one issues that I'm hearing. I am doing a listening tour starting in March, and my whole idea is to hit those outlying areas and go speak to the people in person, and just figure out what they really want. From what I'm understanding, though, from just talking by setting them up, is law enforcement is definitely on the top of the list. Yeah. Other services are including these solar farms that are going in. Or not services, but concerns are these solar farms that are going in. Yeah. So we just had the Diamond solar farm go in. And last night we actually had a meeting in Keno because they are proposing a 6,800 acre solar farm out there. Literally a mile from my back door. Okay. That is massive, with a battery containment system, which the one in Merrill has caught fire a few times already. So that is obviously a concern of the Keno residents. So last week was just purely, almost no campaigning itself, but purely getting the Keno community together for that meeting that we had last night. Okay. Obviously, the main reference that we had was the recent Diamond Solar Farm that just was approved. It hasn't been built yet. But when I looked into it, I was starting to notice a few things. I think Klamath kind of got hosed on that deal. The commissioners had their arguments for why they felt they did the best for the county, and then my arguments were basically, I don't think you did enough for giving up that much land and that much of our resources for none of that power to stay local. We gave up too much, I believe. And there are statutes, we could go into all the boring stuff, but there was ways around it. If you don't work in the business of land development, planning, obviously it's very easy to be wooed by big business, by developers. That's their job. Their job is to come in and make a deal with you that benefits them, right? I think going forward with any of these possible land developments, or postponing them even, like the one in Keno, we're not against it completely. We're against where they want to put it. There's a lot of other land that wouldn't affect the environment or the people in Keno so validly. So it's not a matter of it's not just that black and white situation. So that has been kind of the forefront of our goings on the last couple of weeks. I just went into this candidacy at the very beginning of February. So it has been, I have zero experience in campaigning. Some things happened over the end of last year when I was fighting with the for animal control with the local Humane Society. And I noticed some things in doing that, and it felt that county leadership was not taking the seriousness of the issue. Taking the issue as serious as it should have been. So after thought, processing, talking to my husband, and then just talking to everybody else around us, our community members, I was like, well, I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring. I'm gonna do this. Let's see what happens. Filed for my candidacy. Found out there had been actually 2 other people that had filed for their candidacy in the beginning of January. Both of them dropped out.
Yeah.
Both of them had reached out to me and told me, and talked to me about it a little bit, basically warned me that intimidation tactics were going to be tried and all that fun stuff. So I don't care.
Well, and
I have a thick skin.
I'm glad you bring that up
Yeah.
because the BOCC is one of the most contentious arguments that's out there. I mean, and quite frankly, with the revelations that came out about DeGroot and his little chicanery that's been going on up there, there's
Tax collector recently.
yeah. I mean, there's perennially a lot of problems with the BOCC.
Yes.
And I've talked with, when Hensley was in there, I talked to him about the hypocrisy of, in 2006 or 2016, they said they did not control the sheriff's department. But now they control the sheriff's department and they're running roughshod over the sheriff's department. And it's like, they don't rely on precedent there.
Right.
They don't rely on rule of law there. They just make it up as they go along and they don't follow any precedent.
Right.
Right. So it just seems to me to throw your hat into that ring, you're gonna have to have a really thick hide.
Fortunately, I have spent almost 16 years doing title and escrow, and that is not an easy game to play. So I learned in my late 20s, long time ago, how to handle it.
Yeah.
Don't take it personal. The people that are misbehaving are doing it because they're protecting something, and that's what it all comes down to. I get that. I don't understand it. I don't think it's fair. I'm a policy and procedures kind of person. I run by numbers. I run by the books. I'm not afraid to say, hey, if this rule's not working, let's change it. But at least let's look at the policies and procedures and figure out how government works here. Let's not change our mind how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
If this is how it's supposed to work and we need to add or remove this as an option, let's do that. Let's come together and do that because we're here because of the people. We're not here because we're good at our job.
Right.
We got elected to do a job and be good at it. So that's the goal. But yeah, there's a lot of issues right now at the top. There's a lot of behind the door or backhanded, behind the scenes dealings. That's not fair to the people. The whole point, I'm on a road district, and the county oversees our road district. And I've read the manuals. I mean, everything is out in the open. Everything is public record. We can't talk to each other as district members, board members, unless we have everything recorded and able to be accessed by anybody.
Sure.
It should be the same way at the top.
It should be. Yeah.
So I had to do the budget. The budget's a mess, and I understand it for one reason. It's been done a certain way for so long, and instead of changing or fixing it, we've just been adding on top of it. So now we have this 400-page budget that comes out every year, proposed and accepted. And if you do a records request on these budget line items, it's still very vague. There's not a lot of information that you can glean from that, from the details from the budget and the records requests. Another thing I've had is some pushback. I did some record requests for the solar farm up at Diamond, and I don't know who did it, but somebody emailed me back and said, in their message, it was basically, we feel very strongly about our decision, about why we made that, like defending the decision. I didn't ask you to defend the decision. I just asked for the record request.
Sure.
That's policy. That's procedure. If you want to defend yourself to the people, not to me. So it's a personal, almost high school like game going on right now at the top.
Do you feel that that's part and parcel to the fact that they just don't seem to hear the outer county.
Absolutely.
They don't hear people in Gilchrist. They don't hear people in the outer parts of this area here.
What are the consequences?
Well, there's not much they can do about it.
Nobody runs against them, right?
Yeah.
It's a popularity contest.
Mhm.
So as soon as it becomes a popularity contest and people are voting because they recognize a name, or they recognize a person, or there's nobody going against them and they just automatically fall into place, there is no consequence for ignoring the outer skirts.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try.
As was evident with the public safety issue that they did out in Bonanza, and that went over, forgive me for putting it this way, like a fart in church. They didn't talk to the people around them. They didn't communicate with them. They didn't inform them, and people just lined up against that and said, "We're not going to do it.
Yeah.
We don't want to support this. We're not any part of this." And it seemed like from the very beginning there was no public information campaign. There was no communication with the voters to make it pass. And I was very much in favor of it. I think there needs to be a police force out there.
Yes.
There needs to be better patrolling of the outer areas around here.
Same thing with Gilchrist and Crescent.
Yeah.
And I was actually reviewing, everything I do is based on the information that's available to me. So all of my ideas, all of my proposals that I'm coming up with are only based on the information that I have via, statutes, laws, and how the budget's currently working. Of course, there's all these little nuances that I'm not aware of yet. Is if I were to get into office, I could speak to the finance department and we could, build these kinds of budgets. But if we could put 2 full-time officers at Gilchrist and Crescent to cover from there to like Chiloquin, right, or even to Chimolton areas, Bonanza, why can't they have 2 sheriffs? Why can't Keno have a sheriff, or at least a sheriff that is spending his days out there, and lives in Klamath or however it is? Because our county is massive and it's beyond these towns.
Well, and there's a perennial problem with the policing of the outer county. There's no way you're going to build this place, economically speaking, without a police presence.
Right.
There is just, it's considered lawless land out there. I mean, it's considered wild, wild west. And you have to take care of yourself out there, or you don't get taken care of at all.
Right.
And you're never going to see a sheriff out there. You're never going to see a black and white car go out there.
Right.
Because they're just too far out there.
Yeah, they need to live out there.
Yeah.
They need to have a hub out there. So one of the things is they want right now the commissioners are kind of pushing for this $2 million commercial airport again. This has failed numerous times. It just never takes off. And Klamath County eats the money. Why can't we take a 1.5 million of that, cover the sheriff's deficit right now, because that's 1.5 million. That leaves another $500,000 that we could put towards something else that's also in a deficit, instead of towards a failed commercial. Now I know that KCC right now, they're working on an airport pilot program. They want to teach pilots. They want to teach people how to fly. They are fundraising for a $2 million plane that they can keep out at the airport for this program. Can you imagine the people that we could bring here if we had a pilot program that, through college? You have the Air Force Base, and then you would have a pilot program through a community college. I think that would be a fantastic boom to this area, and eventually we could be the hub of because that is one thing, like pilots are a dying breed, right?
Well, one of the problems with making that into anything substantial is they don't have planes for that.
Right.
They've not designed a plane that can get from Portland to Klamath Falls and back again, or just get over the mountain over to Medford and whatnot.
Right.
So until they can do these shorter flights and make them economically viable, that airport is just going to sit there and wiggle.
Right, but that's what I'm saying though. Like KCC, all on their own.
Yeah.
They are trying to do their own fundraising to use that space, for, to bring in money to the community. Where we could, instead of, like our county commissioners want to use $2 million of our money to make it commercial. So it's kind of this, they aren't talking to each other. The city of Klamath Falls could help fundraise with that, while the county could focus on other things, important things.
Sure.
So there is a lot of, then I hear about these frivolous, the Hanskins food hub thing that people are very excited about. That's okay, awesome, but we don't even have enough housing here. Like we need to work on taking some of the red tape and bureaucracy out of building here. Why do you have to go to 3 different agencies and take, 14 days or 14 weeks to move through the process to be able to build a new home? Like, why can't we focus on fixing that, bring building and housing here, and then, instead of spending the money just in Klamath Falls on something that only helps Klamath Falls and not the outlying areas. So there's a lot of this little stuff like that. Like, why are we spending money on frivolous things when we have needs? Animal control. 0 funds are budgeted to animal control.
Yeah.
Their entire budget is from what they get from licensing, right? This is kind of what started it all. I went to the meeting, the BOCC meeting about that. And I watched these commissioners sit at a table, and their answer was not adding any money to the budget, but to bring in a think tank of people who come up with ideas on how to use AI and volunteers to go out on calls. Well, there's a lot. There was like at least 20 people in this meeting. None of us were allowed to talk to the commissioners about it. We had to sit there and listen to them pat themselves on the back for doing nothing. And then when they left and we all went out, we actually talked about it, the people that are in the middle of that right now, that go out to these homes and have to deal with animal control, vicious animals, horses and livestock that are in desiccated situations, they're getting shot at. You know what I mean? You're going onto people's private property and taking their animals.
Sure.
It's dangerous, and they want to put volunteers in that situation. They want AI to answer the phone.
Wow.
Okay, Klamath Falls is not a big enough place to spend the millions of dollars to implement AI.
Yeah.
We can just hire a few people to answer phones and help out and be clerks while, then having additional, they used to have one sheriff that would work directly with animal control. The sheriff pulled him out. This was back with Caber. I don't know anything about how Mitchell's interested in working with animal control, but they need a licensed, registered enforcement officer working with animal control. Why can't we have one?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Well, I mean, if you can't fund the dog catcher, what does that say about our county?
Exactly.
If we can't afford to pay somebody that can keep the dogs in their homes and keep them safe and keep them fed, what are we doing?
Yeah, foundational services.
Yeah.
We need to go back to bolstering our foundational services. Then we can build on top of that. But until we have that, we are teetering at the top because we're too full up here. $35,000 was spent, 2025, for our 3 commissioners to travel. $35,000.
Yeah.
Okay, that would cover almost the whole salary of 1 extra employee.
Yeah.
We don't need to be traveling when we need to be focusing on the foundation again. They're building on top while the Jenga is falling.
Well, I did talk with Kelly Minty the other day, and I enjoyed my conversation with her. I thought she was a very positive conversation. I'm not getting that from you today.
No, I'm positive that with change it can be better. So, where I grew up was a town very much like Klamath is now. It was the good old boys club. It was all this backdoor dealings, everybody making agreements with each other. If you talk to, and this is actually something that I've talked to some of the locals here, they'll have a concern, they'll bring it up to the commissioner. The commissioners will go meet with them. They will smile, they will work with them, they will give them ideas. Then they tell the people, this is what you have to do, these are the hoops you have to jump through, and then send them off. The people feel good about it, they're excited, they do the extra work on top of their busy lives, their jobs, their families, their businesses. They do this extra work, and then it falls off a cliff. Nothing happens from it. It's either completely voted down or just completely forgotten and not followed through with. That kind of frustration doesn't help. Like that, you start to lose the support of the foundation, not just the foundational services, but the foundation is the people, the taxpayers.
And it seems to me, you come from outer county areas. You know those people better than probably the commissioners do at this point. And if you talk about anybody in the outer county, they are sickened by the BOCC. They're sickened by the fact that they sit here and they don't ever visit.
Right.
They don't go out and talk to those people. They don't make it up to Gilchrist. They don't make it out to Bonanza. They
And
don't
it's
make it.
so easy to set up an appointment. Like
Yeah.
in a week, I got a hold of like 3 different people by just throwing a post on Facebook and saying, hey, if I want to come up and do a community meeting, who do I need to talk to?
Mhm.
I got a name for, Gilchrist. I got a name for Merrill. I got a name for Sprague. Sprague River has a community center.
Mhm.
Do people know that? I don't know if anyone even knows that. So I got, when I do my listening tour, it was that easy to call, reserve a spot, a time, and then the people there were so excited to have somebody come out and talk to them. They took I made a flyer, gave it to them, and they posted it and let everybody in the community know,
Mm-hmm.
They want to tell their stories, want to talk.
Well, I feel like that's part of the problem of Klamath County. It's part of the problem of Deschutes County. It's part of the problem of Lakeview County. It's part of the problem of being in this part of Oregon.
Rural Oregon.
Is that, we don't feel heard.
Right.
We don't feel like the state is paying attention to us.
Yes.
We don't feel like the BOCC is paying attention to us. I mean, I guess the Klamath Falls City Council, I guess they do kind of pay attention. But most of the counties around, or most of the towns around here don't have the powerful board that Klamath has.
Right,
You
and
know?
the county commissioners are their voice. That
Yeah.
is their board. They need to work better for them. It's not all doom and gloom, the people are thriving here, but we can make it better.
Okay.
Just by making better decisions, by spending more time considering the long-term outcome. I've noticed a lot of the decisions that have been made are very short-term thought out. And I don't know if it's just an education problem. Not everybody sees the world in, zoomed out. A lot of people, and it's just the way we live our lives these days, on our phones, on our computers, everything is very zoomed in. The world is scary if we zoom out too far, and that's normal. But if you're in a leadership position, that's your job. You need to zoom out and consider everything and everybody. On top of the fact that your decisions are going to affect all of those people. So it's very important to consider that at all times.
Well, I have another question I have to ask you.
Absolutely.
Okay. You posted to Facebook a couple of days ago about satanic things happening.
I did?
Well, it was attributed to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. No, I know.
Talk to me about that, if you would, please.
There is a person.
Okay.
A person that a couple of years ago, we met. We were in the same friend group, the same acquaintance group. She didn't like me. She did not like me at all. I haven't really thought about her since then, and as soon as I became public, because I always kept my life a bit more private, but I knew as soon as I started a campaign and I put my name out there, she couldn't wait to come out and say whatever it is she needs to say. It's a weird obsession.
Like she's part of that satanic people's church or whatever it was, or whatever?
I don't know. No, she's like, I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I don't know her that well. I know her name. I'm not going to get into that part, but she just doesn't like me. It's a weird obsession, and every now and then you'll see the same bit of information regurgitated. I have friends that will send it to me, and be like, hey, she's doing it again. But I'm not the only one that she's been obsessed with this. So we actually have like a little crew of women. That one woman she went after for like 6 years like this.
Well, and that's part of the problem with living in
it's a
quiet
small
America.
town. Yeah.
It's a small place.
So,
you have to fixate on something,
exactly.
so you might as well fixate on something
So
else.
either it's a jealousy obsession or it's a romantic obsession. I don't know. It's weird, and I'm like, okay, but she has the right to do it. I mean, it's her First Amendment right, so have at it. The only thing that upset me is that she tried to drag my daughter into it. My daughter's 24 years old, lives up in Fall Creek, up by Eugene, and has nothing to do with any of this. She doesn't know my daughter. We have a similar name because my daughter's named Elvina. The name Elvina is all firstborn daughters in our family. So, so she tried to, I think at one point, say that was my second page or something, and it's my daughter. So fortunately, my daughter has an amazing sense of humor. I sent her the screenshots that people were sending me, and I was like, hey, have fun with this. So I loosed my daughter on her because she has a thick skin too. honestly, I don't even think about it until somebody shoots me another text and is like, hey, she's
Okay.
doing it again.
Well, a few people saw the post.
Oh, yeah.
They were a little hesitant about it.
Oh,
and They were
yeah.
a little scared about it.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Okay.
It's one person that has this weird obsession with me, and I just don't know.
Well, that's Facebook, so
Yes,
there you go.
Exactly. So, I'm looking for votes, but I don't need everybody's vote. So if she doesn't want to vote for me, then that's her prerogative.
So if somebody wants to get involved in your campaign, are you looking for volunteers?
I would love volunteers. I have a few people that do help me regularly, and they have been fantastic. But I am running this as a grassroots. So I'm, mostly just donations, small donations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want any companies to donate to my campaign. And that's just because when I say I'm here for the people, I mean that. Like, actually mean that genuinely. I am a justice warrior. My husband and I are heavily involved in this community with volunteering. We run multiple programs through the summer out of the ice rink.
I gotta say, I was telling people that I was meeting with you today, and everybody said your husband's amazing and you're amazing, and you have a lot of big friends out there.
We
So.
have, this town, because neither one of us are from here,
Mm-hmm.
and we both moved here separately. And he was here a few more years before I was. We met, we got married, and he is such an extroverted person. He's such a big personality and a loud voice, and he was heavily involved with the theater here, Linkville Theater and the Ross Ragland, and he got me involved. I've always volunteered for things, but it was always more behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And he said, you're awesome. Let's push you out there a little bit more. So we started teaching roller skating lessons at the roller rink in the summertime. We help out and volunteer all winter with ice skating and running and helping run the place. We spent a couple years volunteering at the DAV. My husband's a combat veteran. Mm-hmm. And I was a technologist, so I was an IT tech for like 99 and into the early 2000s. So I was there for Y2K and everything. And I'm very, very technical. So I was able to help out with a lot of technical stuff. I volunteered, not at the senior center here, but I lived in Coos Bay for a few years. I volunteered at there every Tuesday. I would go in there and I would bring your laptops, your tablets, your cell phones. Let's get you work. The normal kind of questions
Sure.
that come up for seniors and technology. Yeah. So I've just always been out there in the community. But the DAV, we did a lot of work with them. My husband was the one that put together the chocolate walk every year that happened on the Small Business Saturday after Black Friday every year. We've done multiple parades with whoever needed the help. So we're at every third Thursday unless we're out of town. And
if somebody wants to help you out,
yes,
whether it's small donations, whether it's volunteering, whatever it is,
mm-hmm.
How do they get in touch with you?
So the best way to do it is to go on to my Facebook page.
Okay.
Vote Elvina for Commissioner 2 on Facebook. On there, I have donation information. They can text. There is a. I didn't bring it with me. I'm sorry. I just set it up yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to. But on there, on my Facebook page, there is a you could text seat 2 to an 800 number and donate that way.
Okay.
There is a website that you can go on and you can accept digital donations. I have a P.O. box if they want to mail a check. If you want to do cash, you can call me or my husband will swing by and pick it up and throw it in the bank account. I also have a website that you can access through my Facebook. Some people prefer websites, but it's a free website because so it's a little bit hard to Google it. You have to go through the QR code or through the link or whatever. But this is.
Well, you should share that QR code up on your Facebook page so that people can find that.
Oh yeah, no, that is on there. I have the QR code on here. Some info like my phone number, my email.
Can I?
Yeah.
Can I keep this?
Absolutely. They're all stuck together.
They're all stuck together.
But
I will take one.
Yeah.
And I will put this up. And I'll scan it in and put it up on your video.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Well then, what else is there?
So that's pretty much, it's my goal is fiscal responsibility from the top down. Mm-hmm. So because of the significant deficits that we're facing, if I were to be elected into that seat, which would be a huge honor, there would be a heavy top-down oversight. Audit and talking. The people that are doing the jobs know best, right? we need to talk to them. So the administrators, the finance department, the planning
County
department,
crews.
the county crews.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We need to have meetings with all of their departments, not just their department heads, okay? Because as we all know, anyone that's worked in corporate, sometimes the manager is not always on the same ball as everybody else. I want to talk to the people doing the jobs. Find out where we can cut waste. You know, are we buying new printers when we don't need to? Are we going through too much? I mean, it's simple things like, are we going through too much toner and ink right now? Like, are we considering the fact that every time something is printed, it's costing the taxpayers? You know, all the way to that. So we need to start from there and then work our way down. The sheriff's department does receive. So, like, I want to say, and I'm rounding up here, I think we receive $25 million a year for our revenue between state and our taxes. Over $12 million of that goes just to the sheriffs, and they're still in a deficit. So my question is why? Why can't over half of our county's budget be enough for them to do their job and reach the outlying areas on top of that?
Well, I just talked with Sarah Doherty today.
Yeah, okay.
She says that one of her missions is also to make sure that the jail is operational and that you can keep the people in prison long enough to keep them to show up to court.
Yes.
So she's going to do that from the bench, and apparently you're on the same page with her.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, how many times we've been out here and you hear of these repeat crimes because there's no consequences again. You know, it's not like you can't just slap them on the wrist and send them back.
And that's what she was saying is that, you know, there's a revolving door. There's the same faces show up, the same people come back every time, and she's going through 3 days of court, and she sees the same face 3 days in a row because they're getting arrested 3 days in a row, and it's frequent flyers is what they used to call them. And you know, if we can fix that, and that involves drug and alcohol treatment, that involves all kinds of different workplace rehabilitation.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many ways that we could try to get these people to straighten up and fly right, so that they're not frequent flyers in the prison.
Right,
you know?
right. And in the event that maybe it's more you know, mental health issues. You know, I will never judge somebody for the choices that they make until they start affecting everyone around them. And at that point, there has to be consequences. You know, you can't go to school and you can't go to your job and act a fool and affect everyone around you without a consequence. You know, if you're in school and you're affecting everyone at your table, you get sent away.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. We're teaching kids that, right? We're teaching college kids that. We're teaching adults in jobs to do that. Why do they get a break from that? Like the people that are out there doing that on an actual criminal level.
Yeah.
So no, I agree with her on that one. We definitely need to make consequences a little more severe. But money will need to be available for that. So, and the jail is in a deficit right now. So again, why are we spending $2 million on a commercial airport proposal when we could be funding that?
Yeah. Well, we'll have to leave it at that, shall we?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here today, and thank you for talking to me, and thank you for introducing yourself to me, because this is, I kind of feel like, you know, if I get the chance to talk to all the elected people that are running through these races, I will get a better understanding of this community, and I'm starting to glean of a better understanding of all the issues that are facing this. So thank you for edifying me, and thank you for edifying my viewers.
Yep, and I mean, I do like to do educational videos mostly. I'm not in the business of, you know, he said, she said, garbage talking politics. I want to teach the community how the government works, and I'm teaching myself while I'm doing it. So I like to do videos where it's talking about how the government works together, the different departments. So if there's anybody out there that doesn't fully understand that, check out my Facebook page. It's pretty positive. There's been a few things recently that it's just because of the Keno solar farm that I posted, but other than that, it's an educational thing more than anything. Like.
Well, and that's what I keep telling folks that are watching these videos is that, you know, get involved.
Right.
Learn how this system works.
Exactly.
and edify yourself into being a better citizen of this county. Because if we get a bunch of people that are all working together to make this county better, it's got to get better, right?
Right. It does get better. And I can tell you for a fact there are towns and counties out there where they went from a situation like we're in now, they put the right people in place and they're thriving. We can do it too.
Well, we'll have to leave it at that.
All right, thank
and
you.
thank you for watching. we're gonna shut this thing down for today, but we have all kinds of wonderful people that we're talking to, and we're going to continue these opportunities to speak to everybody that's running in this race, and we will do our best to introduce you to each and every one of them if they want to join us. I'm Christopher German. This is Coffee with the Candidates. Thank you to the Waffle Hut for letting us be here today, and we will see you guys again next time.
Bye.